Life Talks with PB, Episode 7, The Power of Decision, From Desire to Action. Welcome back to Life Talks with PB. Folks, when we started this journey, we began with a one simple question: what do you really want? That was desire. Because Napoleon Hill believed that a burning desire is where achievements begin. But desire alone isn't enough. You need to believe that what you want is possible. That's where we explore faith. Then we talked about autosuggestion, the idea of repeatedly feeding your mind with thoughts, beliefs, and goals which are pushing you towards your goal. Because what you repeatedly think about can influence the way you see yourself and the way you behave. Ultimately, the reaction you take. And then came specialized knowledge because wanting something is one thing, but developing a knowledge or a knowledge base and the ability to move towards your goal is something else. And then we discovered imagination. Hill described imagination as the workshop of a mind. This is where an idea can become possibility. You begin to see something that doesn't exist yet, and the start is by asking a simple question: how can I make this real? But here's where our journey became even more practical. An idea needs direction, a dream needs a pathway, and that's why our last episode was about organized planning. Because as Hill teaches throughout, Think and Grow Rich, success isn't simply about wishing for something, it's about turning desire into a definite path and then putting the plan to action which you have planned, and then you arrive at the next powerful chapter with me today, which is decision. Because think about the journey we have taken. First, I know what I want, that's the desire. Then I believe I can move towards it, that's the faith. Then I train my mind to support that belief, that's autosuggestion. Then I gain the knowledge I need, which is specialized knowledge. And I imagine possibilities, that's imagination. Then I create a practical path for it, that's organized planning. But how come? The question is, will I decide to do it? And that's where everything changes. Because you can have powerful desire, you can have faith, you can have knowledge, you can have imagination, you can have an excellent path. But without a decision to act, plan remains a plan. This is one of the important lessons Hill highlights when he studies successful people. They make decisions, they don't spend their entire lives standing between possibilities. They choose, they commit, they move, and then they learn from the results. Think about your own life. Maybe you have been thinking about starting something new, as I said, a business, new career, a YouTube channel, a photography business, anything that specifically you have done, and that's your goal. Maybe you have been saying, I'll start when the time is right. But here's the problem: the perfect time rarely arrives. There will always be another reason to wait. More research, more preparation, more uncertainty, more opinions, and eventually, wait can become a habit. That's why decision matters. You don't need to know everything when you start the first step. You just need to know your next step. So make a decision, take a step, learn, adjust, and continue. Turning Hill's principles into a real life, let's make this extremely practical. Suppose your goal is to start a business. Your desire says, I want to build this business. Your faith says, I believe I can make this happen. Autosuggestion keeps that goal active in your mind. Specialized knowledge helps you understand your market, your customers, and the business. Your imagination can help you create the idea and find new possibilities. Your organized planning gives you the next steps to take. But decision says, I'm starting. You register the business, you speak to your first customer, you create a first product, you make a first call, you take a first step, and suddenly the idea is no longer in your head, it has entered the real world. That's what the power of decision is. So don't confuse decision with perfection. And there's something very important here. Making a decision doesn't mean that you can never change your plan. Sometimes new information may come through, sometimes the market may change, sometimes you discover a better approach. Now, that's not failure, that's learning, adapting. The real danger is consistently changing your direction because of a fear, because of a doubt, or because someone else doesn't believe in your idea. Hill repeatedly emphasizes the importance of persistence, and persistence becomes much easier when you have made a clear decision about what you are pursuing. Because when you know what you want, you stop treating every obstacle as a reason to quit. You start treating it as a problem to solve. One decision can change the direction. Think about this. The person doesn't suddenly wake up one morning with completely different life. Usually, change begins much smaller. One thought, one decision, one action, then another, and then another. Until those small actions begin creating completely different direction. That's why today's lesson isn't simply make big decisions. It's about make clear decisions about the things that matter. Decide what you want, decide what you're willing to do for it, decide what you're going to stop doing, and most importantly, decide to begin. Ask yourself, this question: what is my next step every day? So here's your challenge from Life Talks with PB. Think about one goal that you have been postponing, something you have been thinking about but haven't acted on it. Now ask yourself, what decision am I avoiding? Write it down and then ask, what one action can I take today? And then do one more thing. Send the email that you wanted to send it to your client, your prospect. Make that call. Start the course that you wanted to do. Write the first page if you want to get into writing. Record the first video if you'd like to get into video promotions. Apply for the opportunity if you're looking for a change of job. Have a conversation if you're having some issues in the family. Whatever it is, just start. Because decisions followed by action create something powerful. That's momentum. So the journey so far, and now I look at the journey we have created together. Desire tells us what we want, faith tells us to believe, autosuggestion, specialized knowledge, imagination, organized planning helps us build up our way towards our goal. And today we learned about decision that tells us now move. That's how we can take principles from Think and Grow Rich and bring them into our daily life. Not as complicated as theories, not as something we read in books, but ideas we can actually use and adapt. Because knowledge becomes powerful when we apply it. I'll leave you with a final thought. Remember this today. Don't just think about the life you want. Get clear about what you want. Believe in your possibility. Prepare yourself. Imagine what's possible. Create your plan and then make the decision to begin. You don't have to see the entire staircase, right? You just need to take one step at a time. This is Life Talks with PB. One idea, one lesson, one action at a time, and remember, never give up. I'll see you in episode 8. And if you have been liking my work, please do like, comment, subscribe. And don't forget to share with someone who might need to have that nudge. Love you all. Thank you so much for your attendance here. Bye.